Hey, Tommy, so good to hear from you and just connect. I know you're busy all the time, and our friendship transcends all of our busyness, but we're kind of all on pause for a minute.
It's great to see you as well. It's kind of interesting. Hadn't seen you in a while, and now I'm looking at you about I don't know 20 inches away, but I can't actually connect completely. But it's pretty amazing to have the technology.
We're not supposed to touch, Tommy. We're not supposed to be
I,
touching.
I thought I
Yeah,
thought well, this is metaphorically 6 feet, maybe.
yeah. There you
Uh,
go.
if the virus gets so bad that that it can be spread through electronics, then we'll have some real trouble. But I'm glad we're together this way.
I've
Seems
already
like
had some
yesterday.
knockdown dragouts with my kids. One of the ways you and I originally connected was that book I call Shotgun we wrote together when we're both parents of three kids, love our wives, have amazing wives, and we just paused in that season of our life to really gather the things we wanted to pour into our kids. But these kids don't get the seriousness of what we're facing right now.
No, I think I've actually said that I wasn't completely aware, to be totally honest. I didn't understand this. There's not like you or I can say, well, this happened. I've still got a 14-year-old at home. It's
Yeah,
not like I can say, well, this reminds me of when I was a kid, you know,
yeah.
something happened, because nothing happened like that. I mean, for me, the closest thing that has any resemblance in emotional intensity was 9/11.
Yeah.
But 9/11 is completely different when uh,
There was a physical
when
enemy you could see.
how this affects every single American. And while that was awful, not everybody knew somebody, or not everybody had to make a modification, or not everybody had to hunker down. And we got back to, I think, real life sooner than we've already, in this situation,
Yep.
been quarantined, either literally or figuratively, or almost quarantined.
Well, it's kind of interesting. 9/11 was awful, and you and I both remember exactly where we were when we found out, and all those things, and most of us do. But this is affecting basically the world equally. I mean, it's not an American issue or a British issue or a Russian issue. It's all of us.
Yeah, and that's strange. It's not affecting all of us equally, I don't think. I think we're doing a great job, honestly.
Yeah.
I think we're doing a great job, and I'm optimistic. But it's crazy to look around the world and see that this sounds like something either in a bad movie or something that you heard about happening so many years ago that you don't know anybody who experienced it, meaning like in the early 1900s or something. But this is the real deal. We're living through a historical moment that will be talked about and studied and for forever.
Well, I know you and I are praying for everybody who's dramatically affected, and the elderly, and those we really are. We lift every one of you guys up that have family members, or if you're in the midst of this, especially our healthcare providers that are on the front line. We appreciate all you're doing, and stay safe. But
Absolutely.
Tommy, I want to switch because when I decided to reach out, excuse me, and call you for a few minutes ago or yesterday, I had just done a post on Instagram about it really is time to make a decision, or are we going to be lemons or lemonade? And you and I were just talking about that metaphor a minute ago.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and you're one of the people in my life that we've certainly been iron sharpening iron with each other, but you've been a mentor, and you've just totally positively influenced my life. And we've shared assistance and resources over the years, and we've grown together. But when I think about Tommy, in addition to the father and the husband and the godly man that he is, I just think about what you've done to influence the top 1% over the years. I mean, you've kind of been known to be the coach to that top 1%.
That's right. That's right. And I like that, because it's not just, what I found is a lot of people think of the top 1% and they think of it as an economic description, and it includes that. But really the people that I'm drawn to and that are drawn to me have historically been those who want to get to the next level economically without compromising their faith, their family, and their health. And that's not everybody. Some people are kind of okay with that, and nobody would raise their hand and say that. But there's a small group of people who want to achieve economically at the highest level, and they don't want to use their family or their health or anything in the personal life as an excuse for not getting to the next level. But on the other hand, it's tough.
Yeah.
And you've got to have, if you have those kind of standards, you've got to have a better approach. And so it's very interesting, given the Wuhan or the coronavirus that we're all dealing with. It's kind of interesting seeing how what I see on TV and how people are responding, and how my clients are responding, because they have been inspirations in that they're not dwelling on this situation. They're not overindulging in the news. Instead, they're finding a way to adapt and be flexible and make the most out of this particular predicament, which it is a predicament.
It is. Well, I'm very grateful, guys, and I forgot to mention this in the beginning, but before we finish today, Tommy and I are going to dig into some more stuff, but Tommy's very generous, and something that normally is a subscription that's millions or hundreds of thousands of people or tens of thousands, I don't know how many, but lots of people have paid for to take 40 days and to just really bring joy back in their life. We're going to offer that to you free at the end. Tommy's been very generous, and we'll have that link at the end. But Tommy, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, and I'll share some of the things that I'm teaching and the principles I'm teaching. But if you took your arsenal of principles and we had to take those and try and make them work, and you use the term, in our current predicament.
Yeah.
So we know we're kind of locked in. We're not under military law, but we could be down the road. But we're locked in, and to some degree, a lot of people that are your clients, they're busy. They're type A people. Probably 6 months ago, they would have begged to push the pause button to slow down for a minute. Now they're forced to push it.
Yes, and we never respond well when we're forced, or it's hard to,
Yeah.
But so much good can come from what we're experiencing right now.
So I was sharing with you, there are a lot of people out there just sharing that crisis is really bad, and those that are suffering, it's really bad for you. But crisis has spawned a lot of things in mine in your lifetime. If you go back and look at different crises, I don't usually use that word. It kind of came out. It sounded funny when I said it. Crises. I guess that is the word.
Impressive. It's
yeah.
impressive.
Okay. Impressive. But how can, let's say, some of the population that are healthy, that are at home, that have vigor and drive in them, what can they be doing? Just some practical things to maybe look for something where they could contribute to their family's income short term, or they could equip themselves to grow personally. But we're gonna exit from this thing at some point, and shouldn't we all want to be better when we exit than when we entered?
Absolutely, and that's been my point of emphasis. And I say it. I don't know if I've ever really used the word before very much, but emerge from this situation better than before. Yep. Emerge. So emerge means to come out of. So to come out of this coronavirus sequestering, when we've all been disrupted and discombobulated, and our schedules have been thrown off, and our very likely our bank accounts have been attacked, and then that's not even mentioning the potential sickness,
right,
of ourselves or people that we live with or know and love. But the goal, and you always need a goal when you find yourself in a bind, the goal should never be the minimum goal. So the minimum goal here would be to survive, and a minimum goal never draws enough out of you. So the goal needs to be to emerge from this situation better than you were before. So that's kind of hard to do, but there's three things, like from a philosophical standpoint, that I think are very helpful. And then I'll give some specifics. But number one is we've got to keep our mindset healthy. And our mindset is the entirety of our experiences, our beliefs, and our expectations.
Relationships.
It it's everything. Our mindset leads the way. Our mindset leads the way to everything else. So I can look at somebody who's maybe got their life going well, or a particular area, but I can see that their mindset has taken a hit, and you know what's coming sooner or later. So mindset leads the way. So number one, to make sure you're in the right mindset, is change the channel. That means turn the TV off. We don't, I kind of enjoy politics and stuff, but there's not much politics going on right now. There's just a little bit.
Yep.
Right now, it's just a regurgitation of bad news, largely. There actually are some, if you look a little deeper, there are some seeds of opportunity and some good news there in some of the statistics. But by and large, we just need to get a little bit of news every single day. So pick your source, and if you need to, get it in the morning at some point, get it at lunch, and then get it at the end of the day. But limit it to just the facts. You don't need
stay informed. Don't stay overwhelmed. Basically.
Yeah, you do not need to overindulge. Just like we don't need to overeat, we don't need to overconsume media. In fact, I'd say it'd probably be a little better for you to overeat than it would be to overconsume the media, because it produces fear, and fear is debilitating, and fear is very difficult to counteract. The only thing that can counteract fear is faith. So change the channel. Ration your news, limit your news. That needs to be step one. Step two is focus on what you can control.
Yeah.
Because there are so many things we can control. There's only a handful of things we can't control. So we can't control how long this will last. We can't control, maybe whether some people we know get it. We can't control what happens in Italy or China or Great Britain or next door. But what we can control is how we respond to it. Okay. And then even more importantly, we can control whether, we are eating and exercising and sleeping as though our lives depended on it. I mean, right. If this doesn't motivate one to eat healthy and to, take care of their body, mind, body, and spirit, I don't know what else will. But when I did go to Publix a few days ago, it was amazing. The vitamin aisle, where you had the all of the stuff that healthy people like, was purely well stocked.
Even the produce, people are not buying produce.
Yeah, but the chips and dip and breads and all of that stuff, they were wiped out. In addition to the toilet paper, the stuff that will compromise your immune system, there wasn't much ice cream. I was just kind of curious, and the desserts were wiped out, the bakery. And so people are hunkering down with comfort food. That's totally understandable.
Yeah.
But it's not going to help your immune system, and it's not going to help you emerge stronger. So those are the three easy things. It's change the channel, focus on what you can control. The third one is seek God, look to God. Of course, we should do that anytime. Yeah. But there's nothing wrong. Maybe you've not been doing that as much as you would like. I believe that God is very happy that if it takes a situation like this to pull your attention toward Him in a more appropriate way, that you do that. I think He loves that. I mean, I know I've been praying more.
I mean, most of us, I think it's easy to be a Sunday Christian, a Sunday believer, but things like this make us 7-day-a-week believers.
That's right. That's right. And, it should consume us, and that is good. I mean, I think that's how we're going to be let out of this. I mean, there's some great efforts by, doctors and some of the leaders, but I really think America is unique in this way. We probably have more people praying in this country than any other country on the planet. Yeah. And probably more committed people doing that on a daily basis. There might be some half-committeds in there too, but you know what? That's far better than other countries. Yeah. And so we're going to get through this, I think, spiritually. We're going to get through it economically. But I think people need to take responsibility for how they emerge after this is over. And so, you want to exercise more, you want to eat right, you want to sleep more, you want to, since we can't always connect face to face, we want to connect as best we can. If we've got people in the house, that's a great opportunity to do more old-fashioned things with the kids, play pool, play cards, play Monopoly, watch movies together, do things that maybe previously got displaced in the 24/7 screen culture. It's a great opportunity to do that.
Well, you and I didn't talk about this, and you and I are close enough friends. I'm going to take the liberty to ask you a selfish question.
Tell me that.
So there are certain ones of us, when everyone else around us right now is, let's say their businesses are struggling or have been shut down. I didn't tell you this on the phone, but some of our products, the sales are up as much as 50% since this started.
Outstanding.
And so I don't want to focus on what I sell or what I do. I mean, I do sell Juice Plus, and it's an amazing product, and it does help your immune system. But the question I want to ask you is this, is for those of us that are kind of thriving right now, that our business seems to, like, the crisis has unveiled or enlightened what we do, not just what I do, but there are other industries too. How can we ask in this season without feeling like we're taking advantage of the situation? I know you weren't prepared for that question, but how can someone who has something to offer really want to help, whether it's making extra income from home or helping a family be healthier, when you know you have something, but you almost feel guilty about taking advantage of the situation? Because I felt that way a little bit, but I know it's helping people.
Yeah, I think you just have to think, if you have a part of, I don't know if any of us have the whole solution.
Yeah,
but
no.
If you have part of the solution, then I think it's immoral, honestly, to not share that with folks. And so I think, you got to think of it like this. You're made for a time like this. I mean, relative to what we were talking about that we're going to make available here before we wrap up. Somebody texted me this morning and they said, what you put together, you may have put it together a few years ago, but I think God had you put it together for this moment.
There is no doubt,
Tom, thought about that,
There is no doubt that what you have and what we're going to offer in a minute, it changed my life. The principle, this is what I love about you, Tommy, is you have rules in your life and you're organized and you have structure, but what you've learned that you've taught me, I guess my mom really taught me too, is there are principles that God ordained for this universe that are timeless.
Yes.
And
they matter. They matter more than just, other than your personal relationship with the Creator. Principles matter because the principles were designed and engineered by the Creator for all of us. And if we violate them, we experience the consequences of them. And then, you know what? It's kind of like when we reorganize our lives, which is what I love about principles and what I love about God. One of the things is when you get away from principles, your life starts to suffer. Now, it kind of be good. I mean, I might have a discussion someday, is it'd kind of be better if you got away from the principle today, that you'd have the consequences tomorrow. But the way principles work is you get away from them today, and it may be a week, a month, a year, a decade, even before it hits home and you get the repercussions of it.
Yep.
But eventually it happens. But the cool thing is when you get back to the basics, when you get back to the principles, it's kind of like the prodigal son. It's like your life can get right back on track. Your health can get right back on track. Your business can get right back on track. Your relationship can get right back on track because you have come and returned to what works and what is proven to work. And when you do that, good things begin to happen, and it doesn't matter. It's never too late, and you're never too far off track. It's never too late. You're never too far off track. And, I think at some point, this is a massive issue we're dealing with right now collectively, but I think at some point we're going to look back and there will be books written about the good that came out of this and how, maybe this is protecting us from something that would be far worse later on, or maybe there's going to be a renewed sense of unity in the country, or the ability to get along, or maybe there's, most importantly, maybe there's going to be a spiritual renewal.
Amen.
Where, maybe people are going to kind of be brought to their knees, either literally or almost brought to their knees, and people are going to go, you know what? We can't just depend on political leaders and PhDs, PhDs and MDs and our bank accounts and all of these things. Maybe there's a lesson in here to make sure that we have righted our dependency. What is it we're relying on? So there's so much here, like here, this is going to be it's already been a tough few weeks for a lot of people, really tough for others, but it's probably going to be another few weeks, or you and I were talking, maybe it's another month. We don't really know, but golly, you know what? The only thing that would be tougher is to endure this.
Yeah.
To endure this and not emerge better, or as I say to my athletes, better, stronger, faster.
Yes.
To emerge from this and be flat, that's really unacceptable, because there are going to be people in the marketplace that are going to come out as soon as this is over, and they're going to be going for it. They're going to be going for the goal. So if you slip, you're going to be in trouble.
You're going to be behind out. You'll be behind out of the gate. Yeah.
If you stay flat, break even. Some people might think, well, if I can just break even, if I can just survive, but that's not good. So you have to be ahead, because coping, going through the motions, is not going to take you where you want to go. And this is going to draw the best out of all of us if we're open to that possibility. But I honestly think if I watched the news too much, it would start to affect me, and I would start to doubt myself, and I would start to put more energy and reliance on what these people are saying, well-meaning though they may be, rather than on God and my own common sense, to deal with a adversity that many of us in our generation, outside of 9/11, which did not necessarily affect us directly personally. I know it did for many, but it impacted me. But this is impacting far more people directly. And, I think I'm very optimistic, but this could this is kind of like that. But when you think about our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, there's reasons they refer to the World War II generation as the greatest generation.
Right.
I think it's not a coincidence that they're called the greatest generation. They had to deal with the greatest adversity. I might get off kind of on a tangent, but we're in a way, we're a little soft, and so this is tough. We're going to get through it, and I think we're going to be better off than we were when we came into it.
So if we can be better off and rise up, I'm counting on this not lasting as long as World War II, Tommy.
Yeah, I sure hope not.
Yeah.
I'm counting on it not lasting as long as they're currently predicting. I have no information. I'm just thinking that we've actually been quite aggressive. I've been very impressed. And we're not going to see the results of what we've been doing for the last 7 to 10 days. We're not going to see that for another couple of weeks. Right now, we're still experiencing the consequences of a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
What we were doing a couple of weeks ago.
So, and this too shall pass. We need to let you know, Tommy and I both agree this too shall pass. There's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. But for those of you that are willing, you can be beacons of light and hope, whether it's your business thriving right now, and don't be shy to share if you can help. But what I wanted us to end with today, and maybe if this thing lasts, Tommy and I can certainly come back and share with you again and give you an update of what's going on in our lives and talk to you some more about some of these tools. But Tommy I didn't give him a just introduction. He's a New York Times best-selling author. If you need something to read, Success is Not an Accident is an amazing book. If you want to pour into your kids while you're sitting at home, I was blessed for he and I to do a book together I call Shotgun, Amazon or wherever you want to get those books. But the one that I think is the most appropriate right now, I love the book of Philippians. It's one of my favorites. when Paul was talking to the church when they were going through trials. And there's a verse in there that just impacted Tommy, and he's used that verse to impact the world literally so that we can have joy. So Tommy, can you tell them a little bit about what you want to offer to them so that they can have joy through this journey?
Well, first of all, the verse that you're referring to is Philippians 4:8. And this is a verse that Paul wrote when he was in prison, when he was chained, when he was under guard. And according to a lot of scholars, he was maybe knee deep or even waist deep in sewage. And he said, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is lovely, pure, true, gracious, just, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, dwell on these things. And so what I have learned, and this has helped thousands and thousands of couples and individuals, even organizations that put this into practice, is we feel what we dwell upon. So we have the book, and we have a book for teenagers called Think 4:8. But what I wanted to offer to everybody, I really want to just make this available, is the 40-Day Joy Challenge. And the 40-Day Joy Challenge is an online course that produces better habits, better relationships, and a lot more joy in just 9 minutes a day. So it's a short little video. You get an email every day. And, normally this is something that we've sold over the last 4 or 5 years. We've hit thousands of people with it. Normally it's about $87. And last night we just decided to make it free. We're just going to make it free. I believe that we all need a lot more joy. Yes. And so this is something that people can sign up for. They go to joychallenge.com, joychallenge, just like it sounds, .com, and they enter a promo code of Think48, literally Think 48. So Think 48, and then it's completely free. And you could, if you wanted, gift this to your entire organization. You could share it with your church. You could share it with your neighborhood. You could share it with everybody in your contact list. You could put this on Facebook, share it with the world. I mean, we're actually kind of calling it Joy to the World. And so this will drown out, I believe, Curt, this will drown out the noise that is the mass media right now that is telling you that the sky is falling. Yeah. And I believe the sky is not falling. I believe this is adversity, and we'll deal with it, and we'll be better off. There is a myth, though, that I wanted to share. There's a myth that adversity makes you stronger. And a lot of people believe that adversity does make you stronger. And so, again, I talk about adversity in the Joy Challenge, but I don't believe adversity makes you stronger. I believe that that's a myth. What is the truth is this, that the right response to adversity makes you stronger. So you do not necessarily, all of us right now are not necessarily going to be better when this comes to a conclusion. But we will be better, stronger, and faster. We will emerge better if we respond with wisdom and with aggressiveness in putting into place a game plan for our own lives. And we've got to maintain our joy to make that happen, and to attract others that are on our team and our household to do the same thing.
So that'll be on the screen here, and you'll be able to see it, but it's joychallenge.com, promo code Think48. And you don't know what a blessing this could be. Do it with your family. And instead of us spreading fear, let's let faith conquer our fear, and let's share joy so that in the midst of this virus being contagious, you can be contagious too. And why don't you
That's right. The only thing that overcomes, sorry, I get so excited about this. The only thing that overcomes fear is faith.
Yeah.
But faith has to be fed. And that's what the Joy Challenge will do for you, will feed your faith. I mean, I put the thing together, but I was kind of getting it set up to give it away to everybody. And I watched a few of the lessons, and I did a couple of the exercises, and I put the doggone thing together, Curt, but I recognize some blind spots in myself.
Oh, I've done it 8 or 9 or 10 times myself.
Yeah. And so you're a different person each time you go through it, and it'll hit you at a different spot. So I think right now the whole message is helpful and it's contrarian to what we're hearing and experiencing in the rest of the world. And that often is a great indicator that something is helpful. If it's contrarian to what everybody else is doing, you might want to take a look at it. If everybody else is panicking, you might not want to be panicking. If everybody else is buying, you might not want to be buying, that kind of thing. I've just found that to be true, not 100% of the time, but almost all the time.
Well, guys, we know that Tommy has nuggets of wisdom and we could talk for an hour, but we want to wrap this up because, if nothing else, we know that you can only endure something for so long. And we want to send you off with them. Tommy and I could keep going. We love just hanging out with you guys and sharing principles that have impacted us. But let's leave with this. Tommy's stuff will be available to you. We'll put it on the screen right here, and we'll try and answer your comments when this goes live. When you're listening and watching, we'll try and answer your comments. Tommy's message will help you. I'm in a business right now where we can help a lot of people because that's just the situation we're in for such a time as this. Tommy's message of joy and, put good stuff in your minds. There's great books out there too.
It's really an interesting connection here. It's putting good things in your body, putting good things in your mind.
Yeah.
And those are two things that work well together.
Yeah. And hey guys, thanks for listening and putting up with me and Tommy. We hope it blessed your day, and we hope that you'll join us on this journey and you'll have joy through the process. Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you. And remember, emerge better than before.
And you always tell me tomorrow changes today. So if you want a better tomorrow, you're going to do things during this crisis that will make that tomorrow different. I love that quote, Tommy.
That's right. Think 4-8.
See you guys. Bye-bye.